Well, this week marks the 20th anniversary of what might be the most consequential UFO encounter of all time, what's known as the Tic Tac incident.
And that case, Denise, helped reignite public interest in the UFO mystery and directly led to ongoing inquiries by members of Congress. What few know is that the investigation into the Tic Tac began right here in Las Vegas.
Chief investigative reporter George Knapp has the story.
You know, when this weird encounter happened 20 years ago Thursday, the U.S. Navy didn't bother to investigate, and the public didn't hear about it until years later. In the years since, Pentagon officials have done their best to downplay the Tic Tac, but there was a significant investigation, and it began here in our backyard. Over a 2-week period in November 2004, off the coast of Southern California, the ships and planes of the USS Nimitz carrier group detected brief glimpses of unknown objects dozens of times. Aviators aboard 2 separate F-18s sent to investigate encountered a weird craft with astounding capabilities. 19 years later, one of those pilots told his story at a public hearing before Congress.
I would like to say that the Tic Tac object we engaged in 2004 was far superior to anything that we had on time, have today, or are looking to develop in the next 10 years.
David Fravor says there was no investigation by the Navy or anyone else back in 2004, as if the incident never happened. But 4 years later in Las Vegas, scientist Dr. Colin Kelleher heard the story from a former military man who was applying for a job with Bass, a subsidiary created by Las Vegas tycoon Robert Bigelow, which was conducting an ambitious but hush-hush investigation of UFOs for the DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency. The program was given a clunky acronym, OSAP. Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid led the way in securing $22 million for OSAP, and the very first case it looked at was the Tic Tac incident. Bits and pieces of the Tic Tac tale had appeared in public forums over the years without much notice. This changed in 2017 when the New York Times published a front-page story and released the now famous video. At nearly every opportunity since then, Pentagon officials have tried to downplay the Tic Tac or hint there might be prosaic explanations, often mirroring the claims made on social media by loud but unqualified debunkers.
There's a lot of cleanup to do when you have a lot of these people saying it's birds or whatever they're saying. It's frustrating because you know the rest of the story and you can't tell the rest of the story.
Jay Stratton was a highly regarded intelligence official who, with his colleague Dr. James Lakatsky, helped convince the DIA to launch OSAP. He's also the person who conducted the first investigation of the Tic Tac.
I talked to him when he was doing it. We talked on the phone extensively. He did a very thorough job.
According to Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, the former head of AARO, the Pentagon's most recent incarnation of a UFO investigation, the Tic Tac case is still considered to be an unknown, but only because there's no data to analyze. Nothing was saved back in 2004, he says. Here's what Kirkpatrick left out: a 13-page, highly detailed analysis of the Tic Tac and its extraordinary capabilities. We first released the document back in 2018. The man who wrote it is Jay Stratton, who years later was the head of another program, the UAP Task Force. The report is loaded with data and facts about the Tic Tac, which is referred to in the report as an AAV, anomalous aerial vehicle. Stratton interviewed the aviators, but also spoke with radar and other sensor operators who said Tic Tac objects were detected many times as they dropped from 60,000 feet to ocean level in a matter of seconds, traveling at 30 to 60 times the speed of sound, but without producing sonic booms. Pilots saw the object with their own eyes and on their instruments, including the infrared sensor which recorded the video images. Multiple other sensors confirmed the encounters, including an ANSPY, capable of tracking a golf ball 100 miles away, and the E-2 Hawkeye early warning aircraft that flew above the Nimitz group. On his way out the door after leaving AARO, Dr. Kirkpatrick says maybe the Tic Tac was a CIA balloon or some other secret military project being tested near the Nimitz. The OSAP report directly contradicts those guesses. Among the key findings in the report, the AAV is not something that belongs to the U.S. or any other nation. It was so advanced it rendered U.S. capabilities ineffective. It showed velocities far greater than anything known to exist, and it could turn itself invisible, both to radar and the human eye. Essentially, it was, quote, undetectable and unchallenged. Further, Commander Fravor reported that he saw a large disturbance just under the surface of the ocean, an estimated 100 yards across. It appeared to him as if the Tic Tac was rendezvousing with the underwater object. When the Tic Tac zoomed off at an incredible speed, whatever was underwater vanished too. Jay Stratton personally ruled out the chance that this was secret U.S. technology being tested. The UAP task force, which Stratton later directed, produced another report for Congress, which found 143 well-documented encounter cases that started with the Tic Tac, which the task force said could not be explained by any technology known to exist on Earth. That secretive DIA program, OSAP, that was based here, eventually compiled a much more detailed report about the Tic Tac, 143 pages long, but not one page of that report has ever been released. By the way, Congress is holding a new UFO hearing this week, one day before the 20th anniversary of the Tic Tac incident.
And we briefly talked about that the last time you were here last week. So that congressional hearing is actually coming up on Wednesday.
Yes.
I'm sure you've got a pretty deep Rolodex on this. Any idea who's going to be testifying?
I was invited. The committee said, we'll seat you up front. You can submit a statement, but, we're going to be here and cover it from here. And there's really great witnesses. I want to hear from Lou Elizondo. He's been front and center in this for a number of years. He was part of that New York Times story. He helped get the Tic Tac video out into the public. And he's taken a lot of slings and arrows over the years. So I want to hear what he's got on his mind.
Looking forward to it.
Sure.
Ahead of the curve as always. George Knapp, thanks for being here. Anything you missed is always available. You can find all of George's reporting over on 8newsnow.com. Thank you, George.